Dell have introduced the wallet-friendly Inspiron 16-5645 with a large 16-inch display, AMD Ryzen 8040 series processors and Radeon integrated graphics for £349 or $464 before taxes. Is it a bargain buy or one to avoid? Let's find out. The Inspiron 16-5645 comes in a nice ice blue color made of an aluminium exterior shell with plastic back cover. The 5645 tips the scales from 1.98 kilograms or 4.36 pounds to 2.14 kilograms or 4.71 pounds depending on your configuration. It's not the lightest laptop, so it's not suited to moving around from room to room or in and out of your rucksack all day. The rounded corners on the chassis gives it a softer look, even though it is a big and bulky laptop to accommodate the larger 16-inch display. The chassis is solid with hardly any flexing when pressure is applied. The display lid does flex a little when you press on it, and there's a question mark over the durability of the dual plastic hinges over time. However, like anything, if you look after it, the 5645 should stand the test of time. The Inspiron 16 is designed with sustainable materials including post-consumer recycled plastics and post-industrial recycled aluminium, with the etched logo on the lid that reduces manufacturing waste. The packaging is made with 100% recycled or renewable content that is also 100% recyclable. To open the bottom cover, undo the 8 screws and pry open with a plastic tool. There are 2 SODIMM slots for up to 64GB of DDR5 5600MHz of upgradable memory. Dell uses a M.2 2230 solid-state drive, but you can upgrade the storage with a longer 2280 M.2 SSD instead. The M.2 2230W LAN card is removable along with the 54 Wh battery. This review model has a 16-inch Full HD Plus 1920 by 1200 60Hz WVA Comfort View Plus display panel. It has a matte anti-glare coating that does a good job of minimizing reflections from strong sunlight or indoor lighting. It's TUV certified to reduce harmful blue light emission. During testing with writing this script for 3 hours on Google Docs with 60% brightness from the 250 nits panel, it felt comfortable to view the 16:10 aspect ratio screen. At full brightness, it felt brighter than the 250 nits on paper, but stick to using it indoors and away from a sunny window. It's a display best suited for office, web surfing or university work. Rated at a poor 45% NTSC color accuracy, you won't be using it for Photoshop or video editing work. On the left we have a power adapter, HDMI 1.4 port, one USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 1 5GB per second, and a USB 3.2 Gen 2 10GB per second Type-C with DisplayPort 1.4 and power delivery port. On the right we have a Kensington Nano security lock, a USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 1 5GB per second port, a headphone microphone combo jack, and SD card reader. Wireless connectivity is taken care of by the Realtek Wi-Fi 6E RTL 8852CE 2x2 802.11ax and Bluetooth 5.3 wireless card. During testing, the Wi-Fi signal worked reliably with the Wi-Fi 6 access point across 2 rooms. Similar story with the Bluetooth coverage, working smoothly with the external mouse or speaker. The full-size keyboard has a nice soft tactile feedback when typing on for long hours. The keys are well spaced with good travel. The 2-level backlighting is useful along with a numeric keypad. The power button in the top right corner also acts as a fingerprint reader which works rapidly and accurately. The ubiquitous Copilot key is present to launch the Copilot service on your laptop. My only bugbears are the small enter key and the clicky tappy noise with every press of the keys. The smooth touchpad is slightly orientated to the left. It's responsive and works well with multi-touch gestures. The integrated mouse buttons are okay, but sometimes you find your mouse pointer suddenly jumping. Noise is not too offensive when depressing the mouse buttons. Only gripe is with the space of the keyboard deck. Dell could have made the touchpad larger in width. 2 downward-firing 2-watt speakers are located underneath the keyboard deck. Audio volume can get very loud, but it's controlled and not distorted. Sound quality is surprisingly decent for a budget laptop. Whether you're listening to your favorite playlist or talking to work colleagues or family, audio is crisp and clear. The webcam is a 1080p 30 frames per second RGB camera with dual-ray microphones. Video quality is average with washed-out colors even in a bright room. It's possible for the occasional Teams meeting. Otherwise, invest in a decent external webcam. This review model has an AMD Ryzen 5 8540U processor with 2 Zen 4 cores and 4 Zen 4C cores, giving a total of 6 cores, running at 3.2 GHz to 4.9 GHz with 12 threads. TDP is rated at 28 watts, along with 16 GB of DDR5 5600 in dual-channel memory mode and a 512 GB M.2 PCIe NVMe solid-state drive. The 5645 will happily run most Office or web apps with no issues. Everything feels snappy with multiple Edge tabs open, Outlook email, and working on a report or homework assignment. Tip: if you do need a bit more performance and graphical grunt, go for the model above in the Ryzen 7 8840U and Radeon 780M. For our benchmark test, we set the best performance mode in Windows and plugged the laptop in the mains during testing. Here are the benchmarking results for the Inspiron 16 5645. Using the quick CPU tool plugged in balance mode idle, CPU temperature is around 40 Celsius. CPU clock speed is around 2.5 GHz and 2 watts CPU power. Temperatures are around 35 Celsius at the center of the keyboard deck, 30 Celsius at the top vents. Fan noise is virtually silent at less than 30 decibels. With video playback balance mode, the 8540U doesn't break a sweat at 62 Celsius on average. 2.54 GHz on the CPU cores. CPU power is 8 to 9 watts. The fan stays quiet and the temperature at the top vents is 30 Celsius and 36.1 Celsius at the center of the keyboard. Set to high performance plugged in running Blender benchmarking. The CPU is around 3.3 to 3.5 GHz. CPU temperature is around 82 Celsius and CPU power is constant at 25 watts. The fan does kick faster and louder up to 50 decibels. Temperatures around the top vents are 31 Celsius and 38 Celsius at the center of the keyboard. In battery mode, balance mode, video playback, the CPU power is 7 watts on average. Clock speed is 2 GHz on average and CPU temperature of 56 Celsius. The fans stay virtually silent and chassis temperatures hit 33 Celsius at most. Same can be said when running the Blender benchmark tool under battery mode. Best performance. CPU power hits 22 watts, 3.3 GHz on the CPU cores and CPU temperature of 80 down to 78 Celsius. The fan spins up to 50 decibels and temperatures are around 39 Celsius at the center of the keyboard deck and 33 Celsius by the vents. Here's a list of the target audience for the Dell Inspiron 16 5645. Working from home, students, retired individuals. Inside is an AMD Radeon 740M integrated graphics based on the RDNA 3 architecture and has only 4 of the 12 CUs clocked at up to 2.5 GHz. It uses up to 512 megabytes of dedicated GPU memory and up to 8 GB shared GPU memory. It has 4 ray tracing cores but is too slow to use in games. The 740M is below the older Radeon 760M and faster 780M. The 740M will struggle with any modern AAA games. Stick to older titles or less demanding games in low to medium settings. Here are some gaming samples. There are security features with the 165645 to help protect your sensitive data, a fingerprint reader integrated into the power button, a webcam privacy shutter to stop prying eyes, and an Intel firmware TPM 2.0 security encryption chip. There's also a Kensington Nano security lock to stop someone taking the laptop away. Inside is a 4-cell 54 watt-hour battery, in balance mode 60% brightness, working on Google Docs and researching on the internet as a light user. Battery life was over 12 hours. With 40% brightness, balance mode running PC Mark 10 as a heavy power user, I managed to get 6 to 7 hours of battery life. In balance mode 40% brightness video playback, I managed 7 to 8 hours of battery life. Included is a 65 watt AC adapter. Charging from 0 to full takes around 2.5 hours. The good, the bad, and the really bad. Value for money. The normal retail price for the 5645 is currently £457.50 or $599 before taxes. I managed to grab one in a Dell sale for £344 or $450, which represents tremendous value for money. Good performance. The AMD Ryzen 5 8540U is no slouch considering it's designed for maximum battery life over performance. It offers plenty of grunt for general day-to-day usage. The 740M iGPU will play older titles if you want a spot of gaming. Plenty of ports. Considering its budget price tag, the Inspiron 16 has plenty of ports including 2 USB Type-A, 1 USB Type-C, HDMI, and even an SD card reader for transferring your camera photos. Great upgrades. Nice to see that the 5645 still allows you to upgrade the memory with the 2 SODIMM slots, up to 64GB of DDR5, and an M.2 SSD slot to upgrade the storage at a later date. Average display. Naturally, for a budget laptop, something has to give. The display is average at best. For the majority of users that it's aimed at, the screen won't be an issue. Just don't look to using it for content creation or photo editing work. Poor webcam. Another cutback with the 5645 is the poor webcam video quality. If you need to use it frequently, buy a separate webcam instead. Build quality. No surprise the chassis and hinges on the 5645 is mainly plastic rather than metal, leading to questionable long-term build quality of the laptop. Naturally, it will also depend on how you handle it day to day. There's healthy competition in the 16-inch budget value laptop category. What are the alternatives to the Dell Inspiron 16 5645? In no particular order, here's some to consider. HP Pavilion 16 AF 0004NA, Lenovo IdealPad Slim 5 Gen 9 16-inch AMD, Asus VivoBook M1605YA, Lenovo IdealPad 3, Acer SwiftGo 16. The Inspiron 16 5645 is a cheap and cheerful laptop aimed at light users who want something to check their emails, internet shopping, video streaming, and using office apps. Even though the AMD Ryzen 5 8540U is a rebadged Ryzen 5 5645U, it's dependable for decent day-to-day performance. The Radeon 840M iGPU will allow you to play older titles in medium settings, but most users of the 5645 will happily play Solitaire or Mahjong instead. There's plenty of ports available, and you can easily upgrade the memory and storage. Naturally, in a budget laptop, there will be some corners cut. The display is nothing to write home about, but it's fine for general usage as long as you keep it away from a sunny window. The chassis and dual hinges are mainly made of plastic with an aluminium shell, and the keyboard is above average in terms of use. The webcam is poor, and the battery life is average. If you can live with these faults, the Dell Inspiron 16 5645 is worth the low-risk price tag. What do you guys think? Leave your comments and discuss below. Hope you guys enjoyed the review of the Dell Inspiron 16 5645 laptop. Please click on the like button if you enjoyed this review video and subscribe if you would like to watch more of our tech videos. Thanks for watching. Cheers.